everybody, I'm Imani, your holistic karmic astrological life coach, and today I'm going to talk to you about the super new moon in Aries on April the 17th, 2026. Okay, so the theme of this new moon is the wound that wants to walk you home. So I'm going to be honest straight away. A new moon in Aries conjunct Chiron is not gentle like this one is. It's not a soft landing into a fresh start. It's the wound and the will arriving at exactly the same moment, asking you to begin from exactly where you are, not from where you wish you were, not from some healed future version, but from this particular shape of you that's been carved by every time asserting yourself, standing up for yourself, costs you something, alright? So if you start things brilliantly but never finished, full of energy, I can relate to this one, full of conviction, and then you get quietly exhausted and before the halfway point, that's Aries Chiron pattern. Not because you lack discipline, but because the initiating, starting fire burns brightest at the beginning and nobody taught you how to sustain once the initial rust fades. So we've all been there. We all can be masters of procrastination, putting things off, with starting them eager, and when we hit the hard part it can be hard to carry on, right? So the wound that this originates from isn't about finishing, it's about being seen. We've all got a lot of that. We sabotage ourselves because once we finally complete that podcast, that book, whatever, apply for that job, complete that course, then we have to put ourselves forward, and being seen can be the hardest thing to do, especially if you're from the UK like me, where putting yourself forward can be seen as being cocky, you thinking you're better than others and all of that. So Aries is the most visible of signs, first across the line, and if being first ever cost you, and 9 times out of 10 it has, then visibility itself becomes the wound site. So the super new moon with Chiron at 0.47 separating says, it's separating orb, that is, you already took the first step whilst wounded, that's already happened, now what? The Pisces stellium between Mercury, Mars, Saturn and Neptune asks, can you let the wound guide the pace instead of overriding it with more speed? If you've been waiting for the right conditions, maybe this applies to you more, waiting to be ready, waiting for certainty. So your thing isn't, starting, you start, and stopping. Your thing is you don't start at all, waiting for the wound to be finally healed before you're allowed to begin something that's genuinely yours. The conjunction with the midheaven, which represents our public visibility, career, calling, is applying at 2.10 degree orbs, and this means that this beginning is meant to be seen. You're meant to put yourself out there. You don't get to hide until you're perfect, or perhaps you've been quietly carrying a wound about your identity, around that, around who you are, what you're allowed to want, whether you're permitted to take up space. The Sabian symbol at the moon's degree is 2 lovers strolling through a secluded walk, and in Aries the sign of fierce independence, the imagery is intimacy, slowness and privacy. The wound made you independent because being close costs too much, being close to others, and this new moon asks, can you take the private walk now with someone or something you actually love? Not a productive connection, but actual companionships, whether it's with someone else, maybe taking that leap of faith if you've just been hooking up, seeing someone and they want to make it serious, or you doing that, or starting that project, or starting to love the parts of yourself that you hate, maybe you've been running on empty. This is more like you, right? Pouring energy into the Pisces stellium demands of spiritual work, dissolving, being productive, being formless, giving up yourself, and now you're being asked to be yourself again, to begin something, to assert identity while still mid-transformation, you don't have to be complete to start, or maybe, there's something larger, something you can't even name that's moving through you, Not a crisis, not a chaos, just a threshold it's feeling within. So we have the moon in the Aswini Nakshatra, which has the symbology of divine twin healers who move at extraordinary speed. And this is saying healing arrives faster than you expect it. Let it arrive at the speed it's offered rather than insisting you weren't ready. And the supermoon increases all this energy by 30%. You may feel it physically, So now I'm going to talk about the specific timings across the world that this super new moon in Aries is happening. So it's happening at 12:52 p.m. GMT time on the 17th of April, 5:52 a.m. Pacific time, PDT time, 6:52 a.m. MDT Mountain time, 7:52 a.m. Central CDT time, 8:52 a.m. Eastern time, 2:52 p.m. Central European time, 6:22 p.m. Indian time, and 10:52 p.m. Australian time. And it's at the 4th degree of Aries, and it's a supermoon, which means the moon's at perigee, and it's happening in the Nakshatra of Aswini, Pada 2, and then Vasa, Taurus, and Venus rules this energy, right? So we've got, the Chiron, Aries, then we've got the stabilizing of, Taurus fits Earth. And the Sabian symbols, we've got the moon and the sun at the 4th degree of Aries, like I said, two lovers strolling through a secluded walk, and this rules the pineal gland in the body, because Aries rules the head in astrology, right? And then we've got Chiron at the 3rd degree of Aries, and this has the Sabian symbology, a cameo profile of a man in the outline of his country, and this rules the cerebellum in the human body. And then we've got a 4-point stellium between the moon, sun, Chiron, midhaven, all in Aries at 42% orb strength. And then we've got a 4-point stellium between Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, all in Pisces at 42% orb. And then we've got the moon and the sun conjuncting Chiron, separating at 0.47 orb, as I said earlier, and this is the wound and the will arriving together. And then we've got the moon and the sun conjunct the midhaven, and this is bringing purpose, identity, visibility, and togetherness converging, right? So that's the summary version, if that's what that's all you wanted to listen to. Now I'm going to go into the heart of the new moon, looking at the layers. I'm going to give you your zodiac guidance, the Vedic layer, going more about the Nakshatras, talking more about the aspects and Sabian symbols, giving you some more final Nakshatra wisdom. So yeah, we've got all that good stuff coming up. So let's get to it, right? Okay, so Aries is where the zodiac begins, not where it resumes, but where it starts, and there's a quality to Aries energy that's basically first breath, first step, first assertion of I am, before relationship, before we start going into the 2nd and 3rd houses, right? Before consideration, before knowing the cost, just beginning, and Aries rules the head, right? And sometimes I think the head can come out first when someone's giving birth. So yeah, it's the beginning, and the new moon in Aries already carries the quality of pure beginning in concentrated, dense form. But this particular new moon is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, and Chiron, the asteroid, orbits between Saturn, which is the planet of, structure, routine, and karma, and Uranus, which is the planet of revolution. And both Saturn and Uranus for Capricorn and Aquarius respectively. But, some systems, both Saturn and Uranus co-rule Capricorn. And Aquarius too. But yeah, they're both involved in Capricorn and Aquarius, 10th and 11th house energy anyway. So it's about Chiron energy, is about carrying the wounds that don't heal cleanly, but teaches something essential about being human. If we're open to the lesson, even if we resist the lesson, right? It's sort of like the wound that won't go away from childhood. So, paying attention to Chiron in your natal chart can really give you insight, the placement, the house, the zodiac sign, and the aspects it's making to what your core wounds are. And Chiron in Aries speaks specifically to the wound of individuality, the places where being yourself, asserting yourself, being first, being visible, costs you something. Maybe you were punished for it. Maybe you learned to make yourself smaller, quieter, less obviously yourself. Maybe you developed a pattern of starting things brilliantly and then quietly sabotaging yourself before anyone could reject you for succeeding. This is not a new moon asking you to be healed before you begin. Chiron doesn't work that way. The wound is the medicine, The wound, the pain, the suffering is the cure. The cure is learning to live with the wound. It can give you the ability to heal others who suffer from similar things that come directly from your own wounding. And this new moon at 047 separating from Chiron means you already took the first step whilst wounded. That already happened. The question isn't, should I begin? It's what do I do with having already begun? And the super moon increases everything. The courage and the fear, the readiness and the resistance, the wound and the will to move away from it. And at perigee, closest point to the earth that the moon typically gets. I'm still learning to speak, yep. So the moon's gravitational pull intensifies by approximately 30%. What you feel at this new moon is physically stronger than usual. Honour that intensity rather than trying to rationalise it away. The midhaven applying to this conjunction brings everything into the public kind of arena. This is not a private healing moment. This is a visible beginning. Your wounds, your courage, your particular shape are all meant to be seen, not performed and seen. So it's working on accepting yourself, or weaknesses and strengths, and it can be hard, but the world will always be worlding. People will always have something to say, so it's all about finding your people, continuing to stay with your people if you already found them, or just building that base of inner acceptance of your strengths and weaknesses regardless of what the world says. And as you know, if you listen to me, I'm a purporter of loving yourself first and having that primary relationship with yourself. So no wonder, no matter when life is life in, yeah, that's the one, as it always does, right? You've always got yourself as a core, and it can be hard to do. It's not easy, but that's my recommendation. So I'm trying something new. So I'm going to give guidance for all 12 signs, super new moon guidance for all sun and moon and rising signs. So if you know your sun, moon and rising, read all three or listen to all three if you're listening to this. But yeah, so Aries, your first house is activated. So you've got 4 planets in your sign, your body, your wound, your will. You can't escape yourself this month, so stop waiting to be healed. Begin now. The wound walks with you. So for Taurus, your 12th house is being activated, so the unconscious wants out. Dreams carry medicine faster than analysis. Rest isn't laziness. The Aswini twins heal whilst you sleep, so let the dissolution, the endings, the letting go finish, so new form, new beginnings and starts can arrive. Gemini, your 11th house has been activated, so community isn't conversation. Collective work needs your ideas, not your performance. The twins, Aswini, say you're allowed to be 2 things at once. Multiplicity is medicine, the dual nature is medicine. So for Cancer, your career wants rawness, not polish, and the public calling asks, what if you're sold up wounded? The midhaven conjunction says your imperfection is your contribution, be seen anyway. For Leo, beliefs are being burnt down. Good, philosophy that doesn't walk isn't philosophy. The secluded walk teaches more than the grand stage. Travel internally, humble yourself, begin there. Virgo, your 8th house is being activated, so merge, combine, without fixing anyone. Transformation isn't analysis. Serve resources, serve wounds. The healer, Aswini, doesn't need to understand before helping. Swift medicine, quick medicine, is trusting the instinct. For Libra, your 7th house has been activated, so partnerships can mirror your unwillingness to being alone. The two lovers walk together. Symbology from the moon and sunlight are showing you that they walk together, but they're both whole first. Relationships want your wound visible, not managed. Be honestly incomplete, we're all a work in progress, right? Scorpio, your 6th house has been activated, so daily life is the practice, and your health asks, where are you running on empty whilst healing everyone else? The Aswini twin says healers need healing. Receive at the speed it's offered, so, give and accept and receive it at the timing that the healing's offered, either from others or yourself, right? And don't burn out to serve others. Sagittarius, your 5th house has been activated, so create something that costs you something, so whether it's heart work, not head work. And the cameo profile, which is the Sabian symbol of Chiron, right, says your shape is ancestral. What you make carries, lineage, ancestry, generational, honor the outline, honor your, your heritage, basically. And I know sometimes it can be loaded because some of us heritage has some bad parts in it, but I believe, there's always some good in our past, in our history, family histories, national histories somewhere. So yeah, Capricorn, your 4th house has been activated, so remember that home isn't a structure, it's where you can be wounded and still feel safe. Your emotional foundation needs fire, not just discipline. The pineal gland, which is your inner vision, sees what blueprints can't, see what plans can't. So, trust your instinct, go within, have some rest, relax, try not to burn out. Aquarius, your 3rd house has been activated, so this is reminding you to say what you mean without intellectualizing it. Local community needs your wound story, not your theory. The Aswini speed says speak before you're ready. The medicine is in the rawness, in the speaking, right? For Pisces, your 2nd house has been activated, so your worth isn't ethereal. The 4-planet stellium in your sign dissolves. Now value yourself materially. Charge for your work, keep what's yours. Spiritual doesn't mean free. Ground the gift, right? So yeah, that's the end of the zodiac guidance. Now I'm just going to talk briefly about the 2 stelliums. So we've got fire and water, right? Because of their polarity, opposite nature. This is kind of like an extraordinary energy because water puts out the fire, right? So on one side, the moon, the sun, Chiron, and the midheaven, all in Aries fire, initiation, assertion, beginning. And on the other side, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune are all in Pisces. This is water, dissolution, ending, surrendering, ending. Also our addictive behaviours, our hidden secrets, the unconscious, right, or 12th house stuff. So the tension between these 2 stelliums is the axis of the entire super new moon in Aries, right? Aries says begin. Pisces says dissolves. Aries says assert, stand up for yourself, put yourself forward, assert your individual will. And Pisces says, yield, give in to what's larger than you. Both are true, and this new moon asks you to hold both. The Pisces stellium has specific texture. Mars in Pisces is a warrior learning to swim. Direct action, meeting formlessness. Force, learning, flow. Saturn in Pisces brings discipline to surrender, structure to the spiritual. Neptune in its own sign is at its full expression, mystical, accessible, and confusion and in equal measure, right? It's confusing in equal measure. Mercury in Pisces thinks poetically, feels towards truth rather than reasoning, using logic to find it, right? all four of these planets provide the energy, the backdrop against which the Aries fire ignites, starts, right? The fire doesn't oppose the water, it rises from it. Everything the Pisces stellium has been processing, surrender, dissolution, letting go, discipline, giving in, discipline, surrender, is the motivation for what begins now. Pisces completes, Aries begins. This new moon stands at exactly the hinge between them, the middle of them, right? So it's about choosing what you need to let go of and what you need to start, right? So now I'm going to talk about the Vedic layer, building on the healing architecture. So during the super new moon at the 4th degree of Aries on the 17th of April 2026, the sun and moon come together in Aswani, that's Sakrapada 2, so the divine healer star in the Taurus, Venus, Namvasa. So Chiron is in Aswini Pada 1 at the Aries Mars Namvasa. So with both the Sun, the Moon and Chiron in Aswini in different Padas, the divine twin healers, the mythology combines and the archetypes unite, telling us that healing is in the theme. It's the entire astrological structure of this super new moon in Aries, and the super moon intensifies everything, and the moon's perigee position closer to the earth means a stronger gravitational pull and increased emotional physical impact, and Aswini swift healing arrives at maximum volume strength, and you may feel this in your body, mind or soul, or all three. And the pineal gland, where the sun and the moon are, becomes hyperactive, our instinctive knowing accelerates. So it's really good for all, meditation, inner work, shadow work, all that stuff that wants us to maybe sit still with ourselves, go deep, So the moon, the Guana profile, in Jates, the moon represents manas, the mind, emotions, instincts, the subconscious memory, mother, nurturing capacity, and how you respond to life rather than initiate it, start it, so it's very reactive energy, the Ghana profile. So the moon is your inner emotional weather, how you feel, how you process, how you remember. And at a new moon, the moon is invisible, dark sky, new cycle, seed moment. The conscious, represented by the sun, and the subconscious, represented by the moon, align. What was hidden becomes integrated. What was fragmented unifies. The dark moon is the womb, gestation before emergence. In Aswini, the moon carries the speed of the divine horses. Emotional processing accelerates because Aswini is, twin symbology, but also divine horses as well. So our healing instincts activate, become stronger. The subconscious doesn't need years of therapy. It knows what to do right now. Swift, instinctive, direct, quick change. So in Pada 2, the Taurus, Venus, Namvasa, the moon learns to receive healing, not just deliver it. Venus asks, can you slow down enough to be nourished? Can the healer also be healed? This is where the Sabian symbol manifests. Two lovers strolling through a secluded walk. The Rus healer pauses. The warrior rests. The initiator allows themselves to be valued. So the collective significance of all of this is this super new moon initiates a healing cycle for the collective wounded identity. The Aries, I am, that's the theme of Aries energy, and Chiron in Aries is I am wounded in my very existence just by living, and Aswini in Aries is swift healing of the identity wound. It's possible if we're open to it and we're willing to work at it, going deep into our psychological, emotional, spiritual wounds and taking time, healthy self-care, and not comparing our journey with others but focusing on ourselves, and it reminds us that the collective has been carrying a basic wound around the worthiness of existence. And if you see the world today with so many wars, infighting and arguments, we can see that a lot of us are told you should be like this or that, or you're wrong because you this or that. So the wound of the worthiness of our existence. Are we worthy in our body, in our skin tones, in our religions, in our practices? space in our sexual orientations or whatever it is, you know. We may ask, am I allowed to be here? Am I allowed to take up space? Am I allowed to begin without permission? And Chiron in Aries asks these questions at the identity level, you know. This new moon says the healers have arrived, the medicine is ready, and it moves faster than you think if you're willing to work with the energy. And the Pada 2 Venus influence softens the Aries urgency energy just enough to allow embodied integration, right? The healing isn't just mental or spiritual, it lands in the body, it takes material form, it becomes something you can touch and see and value. The Taurus and Vasa grounds the fire, the wild impulse becomes tangible nourishment, nurturing, love, care, acceptance, forgiveness, right? And collectively, this is a moment to initiate healing work that doesn't require years of processing. Ashwini energy doesn't wait. The twin divine horsemen arrive before you have finished calling in the energy, you know. Trust the speed, don't insist on slow integration if fast healing is offered. Some wounds resolve in an instant, right? When the right medicine arrives at the right time. Some takes longer to heal, but you know, be open to the quick healing in the things you can heal quickly and work towards. So in terms of the timing, as I said, it's exact at 12:52 GMT time on April the 17th, and the moon moves out at Ashwini into Bharadri, the restraint death Nakshatra, within 24 to 26 hours. So use this window, you know, of the Ashwini healing energy to heal what you can. Swift completion, swift arrival, and the sun moves through Ashwini right up until around the 21st of April, when it enters the Bharani Nakshatra, which all four padas are in Aries too, until it moves into Kitra, which covers Aries and the beginning of Taurus, and the sun stays in Aries until around the 15th of May. So, you know, the healing initiation of the moon energy is a 4 to 5 day window of maximum potency. Then we've got about another, 28 days or so of the sun being in Aries, continuing it. So after the energy shifts from swift instinctual healing, Ashwini, to letting things die that need to burn, Bharana Aries energy, take that transition, and the supermoon effect, peaks within 12 hours of there's that moment of the super new moon, and you will feel the maximum intensity from the evening of April the 16th through to the morning of the 18th of April, and adjust this for your time zone. But to ultimately work with the energy, slow down, be gentle, accept the fast healing in the areas that need it, and be open to let some things die, right, and let some things begin. So now I'm going to talk about the invitation, the actual practice that this new moon in Aries wants you to do. So the essential question it's asking is, can the healer also receive healing? Can you be open to healing even if you're not the healer? So it's asking you to identify one identity wound you have been carrying, Chiron in Aries energy. So you may say things like, I'm not allowed to, I'm too much, not enough, I can't be myself because, and don't process it slowly. This is Ashwini's gift, write it down once, state it clearly, let the Ashwini twins take it, don't overthink it, don't create a 5-year healing plan, just name it, release it, and receive the medicine that arrives. But of course, healing happens in layers as well, so I would like to say, let it go. If it does go, there'll be something, at least one thing you can let go of. Other things will need a 5-year or 10-year or lifelong healing plan, because some things take that long, even lifetimes, to heal, right? So just remember that. Number 3, do something embodied that lives you, to take a practical action. Embodied means like lived out, practically practice, right? So the secluded walk from the Sabian symbol, maybe take one of those. Do something that's not productive, not achievement orientated, just being with yourselves as if your worth was just built on, and it should be built on just you being you, slowing down your energy. And the Venus energy is balancing the Aries urgency in this, so let the healing land in your body, not just your mind. 4. Notice if healing arrives faster than expected. As Sweeney doesn't follow therapy timelines, the wound you carried for years might resolve in hours. Don't regret quick, swift healing because you expected it to take longer. The supermoon increases everything. Trust the intensity. Within 24 hours, let something complete. When the moon enters Bharavani, ask yourself what arrangement pattern or identify structure that is, and routines, relationships that are ready to die. And Bharavani, the next Nakshatra, carries the Sakti, the power to take away. The healing open space, let the old routines and structure dissolve into that space. Don't hold on to what the healing just released. This is not a metaphor, this is a literal practice. Do it. The Ashwini twins are here, the medicine is ready, your job is to receive it at the speed it's offered. So to, personalize this transit for your chart, look at your moon sign, your rising sign, any dasa, planetary periods that are happening in your chart, your natal moon, sun or Chiron position, especially if they are in Ashwini or the 3 to 4th degree of any sign, and pay attention to any planets in the 3 to 4th degree of any sign or in Aries in general, and also, any other planetary transits and events that are affecting your natal chart to personalize this for you. So now I'm just going to talk about the aspects in more detail. So the moon and the sun are conjuncting Chiron and separating aspect at 0.47 degrees. So a conjunction, planets meeting at the same degree, at least 1 degree is essentially exact. This means Chiron's influence is interlinked, combined directly into the fabric of this new moon. It's not on the peripheral, not the background, it's central, as I said. And Chiron conjunct a new moon brings the wound into the beginning, into the opening, into our attention, not as an obstacle, but as an orientation to get us more self-aware about it. The wound knows where the medicine is. The wound knows what needs healing in you. Yes, but it's also in collective patterns that we've all been carrying from the nations, the religions, the family trauma, and all of that, heartbreaks and all of that, right? And the separating aspect means there's that conjunction just past within the last degree. The wound already touched the new beginning. It's not coming, it already arrives. So what you're feeling now is the aftermath, the integration, the okay that happened. So reflecting on the heartbreaks, rejections, identity, psychological, spiritual, and other wounds in your life. They happen, now what? And the teaching is, don't wait to be healed, don't wait to let the healing begin. You begin from the wound. The beginning is the healing. The wound that wanted to stop you is the same wound that carries you exactly what direction you need to walk. And the moon and the sun conjunct the midhaven at 2 degrees and 10 applying. And the midhaven, as I said, represents our public calling, our career, our visible contribution to the world. And the new moon conjunct the midhaven means the beginning is meant to be seen. This isn't a private transformation, this is a visible intuition, and the applying aspect of this energy means the conjunction is building. It will perfect, become exact in the coming hours and days. What you begin at this new moon has a natural organic pathway toward public visibility and vocational career related expression. So the gift of this is that you don't need to force visibility, you don't have to market yourself. Begin what's genuinely yours, and the midhaven will handle the rest. The right people will see it, the right opportunities will recognize it. Your job is the beginning, the visibility takes care of itself. So the challenge is being seen while still being wounded. Aries Chiron energy makes you want to hide until you're perfect. The midhaven says no, be seen now, let the wound be visible. That's what makes the work real, So yeah, now I'm going to talk about the Sabian symbols that are influencing this super new moon in Aries. So the sun and the moon are at the 4th degree of Aries that has the Sabian symbology, two lovers strolling through a secluded walk, right? So in Aries, as I said before, the sign of the individual, of independence, of fierce self-assertion, this symbol is a surprise. Aries doesn't typically reach for images of intimacy and privacy. It reaches for fire, for conquest, for the first stride, and yet here, at the degree of the new moon, the image is two people together in a private space, moving slowly, no urgency, no competition, no performance, right? So this symbol speaks to the aspect of Aries that most easily miss, right? The desire for genuine intimacy that sits underneath the independent exterior performance, ego, projection, first house stuff, right? The wound of Aries Chiron often creates a person who appears fiercely independent whilst being quietly deeply lonely. The cost of being first, of being visible, of asserting yourself, it often includes being alone, not by choice but by consequence, right? The two lovers on their secluded walk are an image of what the wound makes difficult. Being known, being accompanied, being in relationship, being genuinely met in a space that doesn't require defences or performance. So the body wisdom of this Sabian degree is the pineal gland, the geometric centre of the brain, associated with the third eye, with inner vision, with perceiving beyond ordinary sensory input, so seeing beyond the physical, right? So at a super new moon, the pineal gland is the body's antenna for what this initiation is actually about. Crown, breathing, slow, conscious breath directed from the crown of the head can be grounding during supermoon intensification. So the invitation here is to slow down enough to take the private walk with someone you love, with someone that genuinely matters, not productive, not network, just the compared, just togetherness, right? And Chiron symbology, the third degree of Aries, is a cameo profile of a man in the outline of his country. So a cameo profile is a likeness, an outline. It's like a side profile, portrait picture from memory, a defined shape against a background. The man's profile fits exactly within the outline of his country. He belongs to a context larger than himself, and that context shapes him, his family, the nations, religions and stuff. And this symbol speaks to how identity is formed in relationship to collective history. The wound carried in Chiron here is not purely personal, it's ancestral, generational, cultural, historical. The shape of the self has been carved in part by forces that predate the individual. So the body wisdom of this sign symbol Sabian symbol was the cerebellum, which controls, governs coordination, balance and the capacity to move through space with accuracy. So the cerebellum integrates sensory information and motor output to produce movement that is neither clumsy nor ineffectual, right? So it gives us the balance, allows us to move, but also allowing us to move in a fluid and precise way. The part of the brain that knows how to move through wounds, right? So together, these symbols, the sun and the moon and Chiron symbols, ask, can you be both the individual defined by collective wounds, the cameo profile, and the person who slows down for a private walk and is open to intimacy? Can you hold your historical shape, your soul lineage, past lifetimes, current lifetimes, information, religions, family beliefs and stuff? Of course, sieving through them and choosing what sticks with you, whilst also softening into genuine intimacy. Not one or the other, but both, using our spirituality and logic together. And the medicine is inner vision, right? The pineal gland, symbology and coordinated movement, which is the cerebellum imagery. It's asking us to see clearly from our centers, then move forward from that clarity with integration and focus and precision, not frantic Russian, visionary initiation, starting things followed by embodied, lived out well thought out action, right? So now I'm just going to give you guys some final Nakshatra wisdom. So Ashwini is the first Nakshatra, not just by number, but where, it's where the journey begins, where consciousness first takes embodied form, where the paramodal impulse to exist becomes a specific physical something. Its symbol is the horse's head, specifically the Aswani Kumas, the divine twin horsemen who are the physicians, the doctors of the gods. These are healers who move at extraordinary speed, as I said, who arrive before you are finished calling for help, who bring medicine that goes directly to the source without ceremony or delay. The Ashwini karmas are significant here in ways that go beyond the surface. This new moon is conjunct Chiron, as I said, the wounded healer, and the Nakshatra is Ashwini, the divine healers. Healing is not a background theme, it is the entire, centerfold architecture of the super new moon in Aries, and the healers who have been healed by their own wounding, the wound that generates the ability, the capacity to heal others because you've been there, right? And a lot of the time people want to be healed by those who have been there. So Chiron and Ashwini are mythologically the same story told in different astrological language. So part 2 is ruled by Venus in the fire, and this is a striking placement, as I said. Aries is Mars ruled, fast moving, initiating, and here in the Namvasa of this new moon, Venus appears the principle of beauty, receptivity, being open to way, communication and love, of being attracted towards rather than always striking outward. And part 2 of Ashwini has a quality of the initial world impulse landing in the body, taking material form, becoming something that can be touched and seen and valued. And the symbol here, the Sabian symbol of the two lovers on their secluded walk, is almost perfectly described by this Namvasa's placement. Aries fire, softened by Venus into the capacity for genuine connection. So part 2 asks via the Venus Namvasa is, can the healer also receive healing? Can the one who moves so quickly slow down and be nourished and nurtured? Can the Aries impulse, I am, I begin, I go, add to itself the Venus counterpoint, balance I am worth being with I am worth slowing down for, I am worth the secluded walk, the time that it takes for me to be healed, to accept the fast healing, to work on the things over time that needs to be healed over time. And Chiron in part 1, the raw fire, right, is a pure, unmediated expression of the wound and the warrior's response to it, and carrying the raw direct quality, the twin horsemen arriving full speed and gallop, no softening, no meditation. The wound here is primal, the healer's impulse is instinctive. The fact that the moon and the sun are in part 2, whilst Chiron is in part 1, tells a specific story. The wound part 1 is raw, direct, it is very slightly beyond the luminaries, the sun and the moon Chiron. The new cycle begins one step ahead of the wound, not fear of it, but not consumed by it either, not dwelling in it, allowing yourself to be working while the wound's there towards your higher self goals, right? And there's just enough space to breathe in that, the 0.47 orb to take the first step with the wound still present but not leading it. And this is Ashwini's gift, the swift instinctive healing, not slow processing, not years of gradual integration. Ashwini healing arrives fast, sometimes startlingly fast, and it asks you to receive it at the speed it's offered, rather than insisting you weren't ready. And at the supermoon, this healing arrives at increased value. You will feel it in the body, don't overthink it, let the Ashwini twins do the work, right? So, to work with this energy, because the Aries new moon energy is starting energy, initiating energy, it's time to begin. But with Chiron in the midst, the supermoon is intensifying, amplifying everything. The way you begin matters as much as what you begin. Reckless charging forward without acknowledging the wound, will simply replay the old pattern. The invitation is to begin consciously with awareness, with honesty, with the particular quality of Ashwini swift but tender medicine. So I'm just going to give you some journaling prompts to help you. So, give yourself some genuine time with these, don't rush them. Aries likes to skim, wants to get to the action. Venus in the Namvasa asks you to slow down, just enough to feel what you're writing. So you can ask yourself, what have I been waiting to begin? Not what I think I should begin, but what am I actually ready to begin? Then you can ask, where has the Aries rule shaped how I start things? So the cost of asserting myself, of being first, of being visibly myself, what have I not begun because of this cost? And the two lovers on their secluded walk, you can ask, where in my life am I longing for genuine, unhurried, private companionship? Not productive connection, not networking, not managed intimacy, actual companionship. And you can ask yourself about your cameo profile. So what is the specific shape of me, my identity, that has been formed by my history, my ancestry, my culture, contracts, religions, friends, schooling, heartbreaks, rejection, whatever. What does that shape limit in me, and where does it give me something particular and real to offer to help others? And if Ashwini healing arrives fast, what would I need to receive if healing came at the speed rather than gradually? What am I resisting because I think I need more time? So sometimes we get in the way of healing because we're like, oh no, I can't just be over this so fast, so accept the fast healing. Some things can heal fast, some things heal then has to be re-healed as we learn and wounds come back and triggers and all of that. Be gentle with yourself to practically integrate this energy. Begin one thing this week, not the perfect thing, not the completely thought through thing, one genuine beginning, something that costs you slightly to start because it matters. Take one secluded walk, literally or metaphorically, if you can, with someone you love or something you're devoted to, your work, your practice, your art. No phones, no distraction, no productivity, just accompanied with someone else or with your work or with your thoughts, private and slow. Notice when and where you're running on empty. The Pisces stellium has been asking for surrender and dissolution. If you've been pouring all your energy into being formless, this new moon says be a self again, assert identity, take up space you're allowed, and practice crown breathing for supermoon intensity, slow conscious breath directed towards the crown of your head. If you feel overwhelmed or buzzy, drop your attention to your feet instead. Balance between crown and ground is the Ashwini medicine. So balance between crown, your head, and the ground, your feet, is the Ashwini medicine. And Aries rules the crown and Pisces rule the feet, right? So honor the wound as the guide. Where have you been hurt is where you have medicine to offer. The wound knows the path, the territory. Trust it. Begin from exactly where you are, not where you wish you were, right? Ultimately, this super new moon in Aries with its conjunction to Chiron, with the Ashwini twins, bringing swift healing, quick healing, right? With Venus softening the fire in Pada, Tuesday and Vasa, with the midhaven pulling everything into visibility to awareness. This super new moon in Aries is asking you to do something that sounds simple, but is genuinely one of the hardest things a wounded person can do. Begin from exactly where you are, not from where you wish you were, from this particular shape of you, from where you are now. The cameo profile fits its country's outline. Your shape has been carved, created, by your history, your ancestry, your wounding. That's not a limitation to overcome before you're allowed to start. That's the outline that makes you specifically you. The particular medicine you carry comes directly from your shape. The two lovers take their secluded walk, slowly, privately accompanied. The wound made you independent because being close costs too much. This new wound asks, can you take the private walk now with someone or something you actually love? The vulnerability won't kill you. The loneliness might though. The Aswini twins arrive before you finish calling. Swift healing, instinctive medicine. You don't get to prepare. You don't get to be ready. You know, the healing arrives at the speed it arrives, and your job is to simply receive it. At a supermoon increase by 30%, you'll feel it physically. Let it land. The wound and the will arrive at the same moment. You already took the first step whilst wounded. That already happened. The question isn't, should I begin? The question is, what do I do with having already begun? You know, the midhaven applying at 210 orb says this beginning is meant to be seen, not performed. Seen. Your wound, your courage, your particular shape or visible, who you are, your brand of uniqueness, you know, be yourself, and that's terrifying. And that's also the point. The Aries Chiron energy makes you want to hide until you're perfect. The midhaven says no, be seen now. The imperfection is what makes the work real, is what makes you real, right? And the Pisces stellium is the compass, you know, everything it's been processing, the surrender, the dissolution, the letting go, the discipline, surrender, yielding, giving in is motivation for what begins now. You don't begin despite the dissolving, the ending. You begin because of the ending, the dissolving. The fire rises from the water. The form emerges from the formless, right? The dense, the conscious emerges from the unconscious. So to begin, as I said earlier, not the perfect thing, not the completely healed thing, one genuine beginning, something that costs you slightly to start because it matters, something that would embarrass you to fail at because you actually care. How to begin? With the wound, not despite it, not after it heals, with it. The wound knows the path, as I said. The wound is the lamp. The wound is the medicine. Trust it. Take the first step. Let the Aswini twins bring the healing at whatever speed they choose. So begin at 12:52 PM GMT time, or whatever time the new moon is where you are, on the 17th of April, when the moon reaches perigee and the Aries fire ignites at maximum intensity. Do you feel the urge to start then, or, you know, start in the 3 days following, or, you know, the weeks following, you know, this energy takes us right up until, you know, the next new moon in May. I'm just gonna check the date. When is it in May? May, and on the 16th of May, and it's a super new moon as well, and it's in Taurus. So, you know, start whenever you start waiting for perfect conditions and just begin, you know. And of course that's a kind of a paradox, so just start, you know. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. You may have just 1 minute to start the new thing, or 5 or 10. Just do one small action, right? That helps you, you know, move forward, you know. So stop waiting for perfect conditions and just begin. The lovers take their walk. The profile fits its outline. The pineal gland opens its inner eye. The cerebellum coordinates the movement. The wound doesn't disappear. It walks with you. You know, the wound, psychological, emotional, spiritual, physical, whatever they are, they stay with you, and that's okay. That's actually the entire point, you know. Begin anyway. So that's the message of this super new moon. You know, it's not gentle, it's not a soft landing into a fresh start, as I said at the beginning. It's the wound and the will arriving at exactly the same moment, asking you to begin from exactly where you are, not from where you wish you were, not from some healed future vision, but from this particular moment, right? This version of you. So I'm Imani, your holistic astrological life coach, and this has been my take on the super new moon in Aries on the 17th of April 2026. Take care and see you next time.